Okay, so let's get started. First thing first, we are going to see what all modules we need. Okay, so inside a main.ts, this is app module. Inside app module, we have initialized, we needed a config module. So now you might be thinking, why do we need a config module, right? Let me see the main.ts first. Here it is looking for app module. Inside config module. So config module, how we manage the configurations in the NestJS application. I mean, either you can manage it by yourself or you can use config module provided by NestJS. .for root, that means it will look for the .env file in the root folder, and whatever you see in the env, it will put that in the process.env. That's it. That's a config module, right? Then additionally, like we are going to create auth module because this is the root module. Inside root module, you will define all the modules which you need, like auth module, authors module, blog module, comment module, right? Or events module or whatever. So these are the four modules. Now these modules will also be defined in their respective folders, right? And anything like in the providers, if you have, because this is a simple NestJS application, but we are going to have all the things which we need. That means the interceptors, filters, pipes, uh, middleware, auth guards, and all sort of things which we use. So let's register them, all the exception filters globally, right? App filters, exception filters, and I will try to create them because I use them on all the application: exception filter, uh, HTTP exception filter, app interceptor, or these are the global interceptors. First, we have exception filters. These are the global interceptors. So whatever you are registering with the app / filter, this will be registered automatically at a global level. App filter, app interceptor, app guard, app guard. If I want to protect all the APIs, then I can just also use app guard. So instead of this, what I will do is, these are predefined by NestJS. All these const, you can see all these app guard, app filter, app pipe, app interceptors. When you wanted to register something at a global level, instead of doing it like app dot, either we do it like this also: app dot use global pipe, app dot use global interceptor, app dot use global guards, or something like global pipe, right? Or you do it like this. Now, where these exception filters and logging interceptors are coming from? I mean, I use the same thing over and over in all the projects. So I can just simply copy paste these things which are in the common interceptors, transform interceptor. So I have actually a simple folder which talks about all the common things which we can have in the application. So where is the common? Yes, here it is. I will delete it and I will paste my common folder here, and I will explain what all I have. Middleware, logging middleware, it is just logging the agent or whatever the basic information we can get. Request ID middleware, right? It is actually setting the request ID for the response. I mean, it is just setting a request.set header. It is adding this additional header in the request payload coming to the controller, doing nothing much. Then we have interceptor, logging all the class name, header name, method, and URL. Guards, we have a role guard. Filters, exception filter. You might already know we are catching all the HTTP exceptions, so we needed exception filter, and same is all exception filter. It catch all the exceptions which happen in the system. Then decorators, I explained it already. I will explain it again. Current user role. Once the user is authenticated, user session is populated, we need some process to see what is the role of the user. So for that we need this thing. Then we have a public decorator. If there are some public APIs, role decorator, we are setting some roles in the request, I mean the metadata. Same we can access inside a role guard. So these here role guard, here we are checking all the required roles for a particular API. Does user has those roles? Yes. Assign, return true, otherwise false. Okay, so these are like common aspects of every NestJS application which I needed, and I just copy paste because I don't want to write exception filters, logging interceptor every time, right? It is using observables and all, but that is fine. So this is the one thing. Now we can start writing the controllers for each and every module. What all modules we have. So after adding a common, we have like auth. So inside auth we will write auth controller, which is nothing but defining how we are going to log in and sign up APIs. Auth.controller.ts. So here we will be using the @controller and all these tags like get, put, post, delete, because these are the REST APIs, and REST APIs mainly for login and register, right? So we will also need auth service because auth controller is validating the credentials and allowing to create a user. So DTOs are nothing but a simple classes. Using that we run the basic validation. Then obviously I need a guard for this controller that when you try to access your own profile, you should have a token in the, you should have a session available, right? And the public decorator, there are some public APIs like login and sign up. They should be public APIs because anybody can access and can do the login. So simple controller is auth. I inside a constructor, I will do a dependency injection of auth service, using which I will be able to know, okay, user is logged in or not. Login API is public. You can see here, and all the different. So what are these decorator? API operation, API response, API OK response, API no content response, API. These are like a different response code, and their messages will be reflected on the Swagger UI, right? You can see login, it is accepting this DTO. What is this DTO? This DTO is a class which has all the validations like, okay, email should be email, password should be password, with all these criterias. Simply we have a register which is passing register DTO. So inside DTO we will define the payload for the login and register, and we are calling a dot register method. And here finally when I try to access my own profile after login, for that I will be just calling the me API that will use guard. That means only a authenticated user can access this API. So here me API, here I will be defining a guard. This need a bearer auth. This doesn't need a API bearer auth because they are public API to log in and register. But here API operation, this is actually summary which will get added on the Swagger tab. API response for 200 current user profile. And this is also we are going to use custom decorator current user. I think we already have created it. Current user decorator. What it is doing, inside a request.user, it will give you that object. So you don't need to access the request object at the controller level. Okay. And the use guard, that means we are going to define the guards. I think we already have GWT auth guard. I think this is role guard. GWT auth guard will do nothing but checking, okay, in the API you are passing a token authorization header or not. So here we can create a DTO inside auth. Auth is the controller. I can create a new folder DTO. So inside DTO will define all the payload validation things, guards. So inside guard I can have a file. GWT auth guard. What it is doing is it is just checking if if a public is the API, I mean the is public is enabled, return true, otherwise just check can activate. So it is just passing it, and then next guard is checking all those things.